In today's video, this is going to be the first time ever I've done a worm farm comparison. Today we're going to be looking at the Cano Worms versus the Maize worm farm. It's going to be exciting, and we're going to share the benefits, the pros and cons of both of them and help you choose which worm farm is for you. Marty's garden is all about compost worms, composting, farming worms indoors and out, and growing some of the most awesome food around. You can learn how by clicking the subscribe button and hitting the bell so you don't miss any of my videos.
Welcome to the Marty's Garden Show.
Well, you're standing in the corner like you're standing on dry land. You've been all around in this part of town, and now you're waiting for a perfect man. Well, that ain't me, babe, but I'll sing you that rock and roll. I can't leave, babe.
G'day my friends, Marty Ware here from martysgarden.com.au with a very exciting video for you today. First time I've ever produced anything like this, where we come up in a battle of worm farms, pretty much. The Cano Worms versus the Maize worm farm. Both great worm farms, both do similar things, but work differently. And what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at a breakdown. So I've created this list here for you all, and it breaks down into 10 sections. We're going to be covering style, size, ease of use, costs, benefits, pros and cons for both, and which one, at the end we'll discuss which one is for you. Now firstly, what I want to come up with is style. Now I've got to say that the Cano Worms, yeah, it's been around a long time. It's not exactly a stylish worm farm, and I would have to give this one to the Maize worm farm. At the moment I only know of the green colour that I have, but I hear that there are other colours out, and Maize have told me that there are, but the most popular one I think is the green one that I have at the moment, and that come actually by accident, because that's my favourite colour and suits the Marty's Garden Show. Just love that green. Right, so size matters, so they tell me. Could do with worm farming. There's a benefit on both sides to do with size, and we'll get into that through this comparison. But I would have to say that the Cano Worms, for material, producing more castings, would be the better worm farm. It just holds a lot more material, but that can come with a cost. Now the Maize worm farm is smaller, and it is still a very productive worm farm, and it's been designed for smaller spaces. Now, being a small space gardener, I really can dig the Maize worm farm also being very, very stylish. But you can't produce as much castings in it. You can produce liquid still coming out of it, as you can with the Cano Worms. But the castings amount and the amount that you can waste, that you can put in, it won't return as much. But still, you are handling your waste on site. And if you've only got a small family, or you just want to have some worms, you just want to create a little bit of, get the liquid out from down below, you just like the idea of it, and you've got a small space for it, perfect. They are really good. They are a really good worm farm, and I've had mine for about a bit over 3 months now, and I'm close to emptying them out. So I'm going to have to create a video for that. But man, there's so much content to make here in the worm cave. But anyway, let's stay with it. We're going to look at the next one. So, weight. This is a big thing, because castings and water is really heavy, right? And what we want to do is we want to have at least a 70 to 80% wet material in our worm farms. That's what worms like. And so we are spraying it and soaking it down, keeping it moist, and it gets really heavy. And the Cano Worms, man, I'm telling you, if you can do a hernia lifting those things up, and you need to be careful on how much you put into each tray if you're worried about weight and you own a Cano Worms, or you're considering buying it. You know, you really only need to go yay deep. I've made the mistake of filling them up real high, and I still do it sometimes, and they do get super duper heavy. So the maize worm farm is much lighter because it holds a lot less material. And if you struggle with that type of thing, maybe the maize worm farm is a better option for you. It's much lighter. Right, worm castings and collection. So we're at number 4 now, worm castings and collection. I would have to say, because they're both different sizes, you know, you're going to get a different amount of material out of each. That's just how it is. But if you've just got a little tiny garden, believe you me, with the 2 tiers on the maize worm farm, you're going to get a lot of castings, and you can turn that into liquid tea. And, you know, like if you're turning that over every 3 months, you're going to make enough worm tea from those castings to last you 3 months, no problem. You know, like you should be able to just roll through with it. Alright, so depending on how big your garden is, obviously. Ease of use coming in at number 5. Ease of use, I would have to say the easier one is the maize worm farm, just for the fact that it's not so heavy and it's really easy to work with. I find the Cano Worms, it's an okay worm farm, but it's really heavy to move around, and the legs aren't strong. The maize worm farm comes with wooden legs as well as the plastic legs are already in the mould, and it looks good, it's strong, and it won't fall over. I've had the Cano Worms, the legs, they pop in at the bottom, and it's got wobbly and turned around. They aren't strong enough for the amount of weight that they need to hold. So I feel that that's a bit of a flaw in the Cano Worms, and it's been around for that long. They should have fixed that by now. So keep in mind that that is a problem, definitely, with that. The ease of use, I would say, for the health of the worms, there's a lot of airflow in the top of the lid, which is really good. And it's heavy to lift the trays in and out, and the trays do suck together sort of thing. So it's a bit of a tricky worm farm to work with, because then the legs aren't real strong. So just keep an eye on that as you're working with the Cano Worms, and keep that in mind. Right. What are we up to? Number 6 now. Number 6. Benefits. I'd say the benefits are pretty much similar to both. You know, we're consuming and getting rid of our own waste instead of it going out into landfills. And we know we're recycling, and we're being more sustainable. So the more waste that you have, unless it's going into a compost tumbler or some other way of composting, if you've got a big family, the Cano Worms would probably be better for you. And the maize worm farm, maybe you can have 2. So you have, you know, like, and try them both out. I think that they both have good benefits, and I've sort of explained that through the list so far, and we'll go into that deeper. So sustainability, it's sort of similar to what I just talked about for number 7. So it's organic, it's very relaxing, and you can breed up your own worms, hand them over to people. And if you might get really excited like me, you might end up starting a little compost business at home, and just you can learn from having either one of these worm farms in the beginning, or other worm farms as well. But I prefer the plastic ones for people to get started, and that's what I have in my course over at martysgarden.com.au. It's the easiest way to get going straight away with less problems. And I cover all that in the course over there, plus the coaching. Alright, so costs. This is a big one for many, and I know that this can be a breaking point on what your choice is. So I want you to consider the benefits over. Generally, the maize worm farm is a bit more expensive, but it's a better design. It's stronger, and I believe that it will last a lot longer. Now, I've had my Cano Worms for about 3 years or more now, maybe going on 4 years. It's still hanging in there. It's had some sun. It's inside now. It's still working as a productive worm farm. I just prefer the look, to tell you the truth, for the money that you get, an extra $20 or something like that. I just feel it's a better looking, more quality, durable product, and will probably last longer over the years. But I've got to hang on to these worm farms a bit longer to know that for sure. And that would come down into number 9, same as for durability. You know, like, it is more of a durable worm farm. Right, so number 10. Now you're thinking, which one is for me? So I'm going to break this down. I think the maize worm farm is more for smaller families or people that are living on their own, or they just want to have some worms and try it out first. It's a very easy worm farm to work because it's not so big. The compost material won't heat up so quickly. Also, it's very well sealed, and the worms can get up and down. It's got 2 trays, so you start with 1 tray and you can add the second tray so the worms can migrate up to the first one. And then, yeah, you can have a productive worm farm. It does collect the water down below quite easily. I have found that mine doesn't smell. It's not getting anaerobic, and I'm finding, yeah, very productive little worm farm. I'm loving mine after sort of just a bit over 3-month period. And so for people with small spaces or want to have a really good looking stylish worm farm, this one is for you. Now the maize worm farm would be for people that are looking for maybe picking one up second hand, because they are all around the place. People are throwing them out all the time. They are a little bit cheaper and they do hold more material, but just keep in mind they are much heavier and they aren't as strong, and I find it can be prone to falling over if one of the legs pops out down below. They're a 2-tiered system as well, so you can start off with 1 tier, it's not so heavy, and then once you feel that that's sort of all full and they've eaten everything, all the material in there, put the one on top again, throw some more material in, they'll migrate up, move into that, and then you can harvest the castings down below, which I teach again in my course over at martysgarden.com.au, how to do that properly. So I think I've broken that down quite well, guys. Now, if I have missed anything, which I'm sure I have, no doubt about it, because it's a big subject, worm farming, and I think, well, I'm positive that someone would have something else to share down below, your experience or something that I have missed here in this worm farming battle, the battle of the maize worm farm versus the Cano worms. If you enjoy the battle and you'd like to see me battle more worm farms and give you my experience with them and how I felt they have performed for me over the years, let me know in the comments box down below. Give me a big thumbs up. Love the thumbs up. Share the love. Share the love with you guys. Share the love with me. Just absolutely dig it. I'm going to see you at the next video real soon. Grow table videos coming up. More worm farming, gardening, organic, sustainable agriculture, all that really cool stuff that you see here on my show. Please share this video. Get it out to your mates. And let me know down below if you dig it or not. Have a great day. Happy gardening. Here comes a flexi hand. I know some of you are like getting ready to leave, but make sure you subscribe before you do.
Well, you're standing in the corner like you're standing on dry land. You've been all around
Bye
in
for
this
now.
part of town, and now you're waiting for a perfect man. Well, that ain't me, babe, but I'll sing you that rock and roll.